Hey everyone, this is Michael. We are going live. It's been a long time since I have gone live on my channel for kind of the public. I hope that you are doing well. I hopped on here mainly to talk about the full moon that we have in Capricorn that's actually happening right now. So if you are watching, we are watching during the peak of this full moon in Capricorn. We'll kind of break that down in just a moment. I do see some of you already hopping on here. So if you want to say hi in the chat, um, maybe say hi and where you're from, that could be fun. I'm really grateful to have all of you. I also did want to kind of have more of a bit of a personal interaction with you as well. I realize on this channel, I'm always coming on giving these readings, and I always kind of put on this like kind of professional demeanor. And not to say that it doesn't feel genuine or authentic to me, but it feels like there's definitely just kind of one part of me that you're seeing. So I thought it'd be fun to kind of get to know each other a little bit better. Um, Already seeing some awesome people in the chat. Hi, so happy to have you. We have you, Fairfax, Virginia, Atlanta, Toronto. Very cool. A lot of East Coast people. Kind of surprising. I was expecting more of like a West Coast crowd kind of coming in on their lunch break. Um, wow. Yeah, all over the place. Cool. Someone from Melbourne. Really, really awesome. Um, but yeah, I wanted to really talk about this full moon. And honestly, I really have felt it on a very personal level. I have a lot of Capricorn placements. And before we even dive into what this means for the general collective, I think it's always a really good idea to figure out where the full moon is occurring in your natal chart. I believe this full moon is at 26 degrees in Capricorn, and wherever that falls in your natal chart, what house you have there, or if you have any planets there, this could be a very personally impactful full moon for you. Full moons do represent these sort of culminations of cycles, these sort of completions. There can be endings that happen during these times. There could be things that come ahead. It's kind of like a peak energy. Whatever has been beneath the surface is now totally being revealed. Just kind of reading everyone's chat here. Hi from Eastern Europe. Hi. Wow. Wow. Yeah. Lots of people from all over the world. Super, super interesting. I love how connected we are. um, and I'm curious to hear how people are kind of feeling about this full moon too. You're welcome to kind of talk about in your where this is in your chart in this chat. Someone already beat me to it, the Happy Hermit. It's in my descendant, 22 degrees in Capricorn. Been a killer year for years. Now, for those of you who don't know what the Happy Hermit is talking about, we've had Pluto in the sign of Capricorn, especially in the last 10 degrees of Capricorn for the past several years. And this full moon is actually conjunct or right on top of Pluto. And this is very, very big energy. There's a lot of transformation. There's a lot of death. There's a lot of rebirth. Pluto is this beautiful, profound, transformative energy. And so if nothing else, we can expect this full moon to really bring things to the surface. Pluto kind of representing this scorpionic energy, things that are hidden, things that need to be transformed, things that need to be let go in order for us to reclaim or claim our power. And being in the sign of Capricorn in specific, I really have felt like this full moon is a perfect time to let go of anything that is kind of serving as a distraction or blockage from you and what feels like your destiny or your legacy or your role in the world. These are going to be really, really big themes that come up, and it's definitely stuff that has been coming up for me as well. I have my North Node in Capricorn in the 10th house. A lot of stuff for you, Jen, about career and your role in the world and kind of this purpose at large. I actually do have my North Node as well in the sign of Capricorn, and I have Neptune, Uranus, my IC, Imam Kaweli, my 4th house cusp, are all kind of clumped together in the sign of Capricorn. So I definitely feel this full moon right now. Having Pluto square to, yeah. So again, Pluto being this planet of profound transformation. I feel like there's a lot here with this full moon where it's like, have you really transformed? You've been going through this transformation process for so long, like the Happy Hermit is kind of describing, where they have been in this chrysalis, kind of this caterpillar that has dissolved. For those of you who don't know, that's what happens to caterpillars in the cocoon before they become a butterfly. It's like you have to lose what you were in order to become what you really are. And I think that's a perfect metaphor for this full moon as well. And I know when we're talking about Pluto and even Capricorn energy, they can feel kind of heavy. It can feel kind of intense, but there's so much beauty about this full moon because it is forming a sextile with Neptune in Pisces, which is really helping us do good on our dreams, to follow our dreams, to follow our intuition, to listen to our spirit and soul. And so if there's anything that feels like it's been a blockage for you, then maybe this is a good time to release that and to transmute that into something else. And if you've been having creative blocks, maybe now is a good time to create structure or to create routines that can help you get more creative, having a creative ritual at the start of your day or at the end of the day. It doesn't matter when you are doing this, but just giving yourself space to move forward towards your dreams. And this is also true with the North Node and Uranus in the sign of Taurus right now. They are forming a trine or a 90-degree angle with this full moon. So there's harmony here. And the North Node, especially with Uranus, can represent this big awakening. We are being awakened to this higher purpose. We are being awakened to this spiritual calling. So a lot of really beautiful, big, soul-shaking energy here. And when we are in the midst of this sort of catalyzation, it can very much feel like our foundations are being shaken up. And whenever we're talking about a full moon, we are talking about the moon being in the opposite sign of the season we are in. So whenever we are in Cancer season and we have a full moon, which we are in, we have a full moon in the opposite sign of Capricorn. And so the moon and sun are kind of forming this opposition. There might be this kind of tug of war that's going on. Capricorn representing this internal self, home, family, traditions, values, our heart. It might feel like there's this tug of war between what it is that our heart wants us to do and what it is that feels like we are obligated to do out of responsibility, or what tradition is compelling us to do. And so there may be these really big themes coming up with family or home or, responsibilities, our culture at large, and kind of this tug of war between these different aspects of self. So it is a pretty intense moon here. And speaking of Cancer energy, as many of you may know, the moon rules over Cancer. And so when we have the moon in the opposite sign of Cancer, which is Capricorn, we have the moon in detriment. This is what we call a planetary dignity. Certain planets have different interactions with different signs. And with the moon in its fall, this can almost be like a reality check for some people. This energy might feel like a reality check. The emotions could be a bit jarring. So just some things to kind of keep in mind. It's not necessarily an easy moon, but it is beautiful in the sense that it can really shake us out of a box or a routine that is not working for us, especially with Uranus in Taurus being very activated by this full moon, Uranus being the great awakener, the higher mind. We are really getting some downloads. We're getting a course correct, or a lot of us are. And I'm curious to see what you've all been writing here. My South Node in Capricorn and full moon is in the same nakshatra as my rising, and I'm feeling amazingly good since yesterday. I love to hear that, Nora. Hi, nice to see you, by the way. And that's really beautiful. Having this full moon kind of shine in this South Node, there's something very familiar because the South Node represents where we have been. It kind of represents this comfort zone, and maybe coming back to this part of yourself. I could almost see a full moon in your South Node as you coming back to the basics in some way, coming back to yourself, coming back to these spiritual principles, coming back to a time in your life that really felt in alignment with you. I'm a Cancer sun, so obviously moon ruled. Yes, Jen, when you are a Cancer sun or Cancer rising, especially, whatever the moon is doing, you are very sensitive to. My moon is in Aries in the 12th house. I wonder if that could be why full moons are always really good for me. Yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense to me, Jen. Full moon really kind of represent a culmination or a peak in the energy cycle. And I often think of it as like we are setting intentions, we're manifesting, we're planting seeds around the new moons, and then the full moons can represent something that is culminating, something that is ready to be harvested. And with you being so connected to the moon, that very well could represent your own energy. So it could be a very nice boost for you. Bless the force field. What does that mean? Interesting. Second house, Venus is at 23 degrees in Cancer. So there might be something here that is shining a light for you with Venus in Cancer for you, and especially in finances and maybe finding comfort in material things. Cancer can also represent things like food or anything that we use to soothe ourselves. Ooh, I see Ellie. Hi, Starlight Archivist. Good to see you. And yeah, Ellie is a Capricorn sun and stellium. For those of you who remember Ellie, she is actually the person I did a couple of live streams with, kind of year ahead spreads with. So great to see you. Thanks so much for answering questions. Grateful. I have Venus and Moon conjunction in Capricorn in the 12th house. A lot of 12th house placements I'm noticing. That's not surprising. I have my own 12th house placements. I know Ellie has a stellium in the 12th house. I think a lot of us are really drawn to kind of this spiritual world, looking into the unseen. Feeling an intense sense of love. I love to hear that. Yeah, Venus in the 12th house really is about unconditional love. And that's a huge, huge blessing and lesson that you have. That really is a beautiful gift, because whatever we have in the 12th house, it's almost like we have to give that up for the greater good. So loving that, that unconditional love, the world definitely needs that right now. And I'll kind of let you all sort of type away in the chat box. I'll try my best to answer everyone. But I did also kind of want to give more of a personal life update, because there has been a lot that's been going on for me as well. I've definitely been feeling this energy. For those of you who have followed me on Patreon, you know I've been doing live streams there. I actually did kind of take a break from Patreon. I am kind of reworking things. It was really honestly more of a trial run more than anything, and I think it was just good experience. I actually really loved doing the live streams. I find it really fun to kind of engage with people in this way, and kind of breaks up sort of the routine for me. So I do feel like when I come back with Patreon, there will be lots of members only live streams, but I do also want to have live streams for just anyone on YouTube. I think it's really just a great way to connect with people and connect with the energy. So keep your eyes open. There may be another membership kind of offering coming soon. I may be coming back onto Patreon. I'm not really rushing it right now. I'm learning a lot about just working with the rhythms and the ebbs and flows of this work. And being a Libra rising, my midheaven, my career, my public role is in Cancer. And as we were talking about, Cancer is ruled by the moon, so that changes phases, that changes very often. And one of the most challenging things for me about doing this work has been figuring out how to work with these tides and kind of not forcing things that aren't ready. So thank you all for your patience with me, and thank you all for supporting me. It really has been such an amazing and crazy time, honestly. And I think one of the biggest things that's been coming up for me, especially over this past weekend, I've just been very open and very ready for what is next in my life. And when you look at my natal chart, that makes perfect sense, because I have a lot of planets in Capricorn. I have my North Node in Capricorn. So kind of leading up to this full moon in Capricorn and just being in Cancer season, there really is this kind of calling to reconnect with something that feels like purpose or destiny. And I think for a while I've known I've needed to make changes to my work or just change my relationship to my work. And it's so easy to say that. It's so easy to see that in my natal chart. It's so easy to see that in the cards. And even for me as a tarot reader, it can still be really scary to be confronted with transformation when I created something 2 years ago that took off so quickly. And was so successful and felt so right and aligned for me. And I've known for the past couple of years, like there needs to be something that shifts. My focus needs to shift now. And I'm really feeling that that's writing for me. And so I've really been thinking for some time, maybe I should share that journey with all of you. Maybe I should share that journey on YouTube or maybe on TikTok or on social media somewhere. Because I feel like when I'm doing something kind of as an intuitive, connecting with the collective energy, and I'm feeling a certain way about something, I know that many of you are as well. And it's really come up with a lot of my clients too. I feel like a lot of my clients this year especially have been asking me like, how do I connect with my purpose? Like, what am I supposed to be doing with my life? Like these really big, beautiful existential questions that, I mean, ultimately we have to find the answers for in ourselves. I think tarot can be a great starting point. I think tarot can be a great kind of lodestone or way to find that north, but ultimately we're not going to know it until we move towards this calling. And I remember when I first started this channel, it was just so obvious. There was no question in my mind, like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. This is the direction I'm supposed to go in next. And kind of listening to that energy that I was talking about as a Cancer midheaven, it really was just something that felt so right. It was so obvious. And it really did take off so quickly. Within 1 year, I was able to get 40,000 subscribers. And I know some YouTube channels explode even more than that. But I'm someone who has my Jupiter and Virgo. Things usually happen kind of slowly, gradually. They build over time for me. And so when I had this career that just happened so quickly, when it started to feel like something needed to shift or my focus needed to shift, it scared the hell out of me, to be honest with you. Um, because it was like the first thing in time in my life where I felt like I finally arrived in something. I finally did something that was right for me. And I've actually been talking to a therapist in the past month. I've gone back to therapy after several years of kind of doing it on my own. I think it just felt like a good time to work with these sort of big questions, these big themes, and kind of looking at things from the lens of failure. You know, it felt like if I walked away, I failed or I messed something up. And I realized that it's not so much about failure, it's about something not being as in alignment for me anymore, or something else being more in alignment for me. And I don't feel like I'm walking away from YouTube or anything. I want to be super clear. This isn't like a goodbye video or anything. I'm definitely going to be in YouTube for a while still, I think. But I do feel like there is going to be sort of a shift in my journey. And I understand that that might not be what a lot of you signed up for when you followed this channel. So maybe I lose some of you. Maybe our paths are parting. Maybe there is an ending in that sense. Excuse me, I have incense blowing right in my face here. I gotta be honest, I've been making matcha lattes and just for the past week, they've not been hitting the mark for me. But anyways, I was saying, I feel like there's just a shift. There's something new that I'm being pulled towards, and I'm really excited to kind of share this journey with you. And it really is just so appropriate for the astrology with the full moon, just in general today. There's kind of this calling. And for me, writing is something that's always just been very obvious in my life. It's kind of the thing that's almost so obvious and in front of my face, I lose sight of it. And interestingly enough, I kind of came into spirituality by doing research for my writing. So in a way, my writing even brought me to YouTube. It brought me to tarot. It brought me to astrology. And now I feel like it is bringing me to really focus on creating and writing stories and doing this thing that honestly was always something that was on the radar. Even with creating this channel, it was supposed to give me the space and time, kind of a nest to nurture a creative project, to nurture this writing. And of course, a little bit idealistic on my part because I just thought, oh, I'll just drop a few videos every month and it'll be so easy. And this work has absolutely been rewarding and also very consuming. And I feel like at the same time, I've also hidden parts of myself. And not even hidden, but just not been able to share these parts of myself. It feels like a very unipolar representation of who I am. And so I want to share more of my life, maybe doing things like vlogs or just more personal videos or just more live streams or chit chats with people. And that's really where my heart is calling me to go. And that's scary. But I feel like a lot of this full moon is about stepping out of a comfort zone. It's about stepping out of these routines or structures that can feel uh, like being boxed in or being stuck in one role. And I feel like I'm evolving and shifting into a different role. So I have talked a lot. I feel like a lot of you have just been listening to me ramble. So thank you for that. If you have any questions as well, you're welcome to ask questions. I'll be on here probably for 20 minutes more if people want to ask questions. Donations are always appreciated as well, but completely only if you feel called. Um, Kind of just reading here. Yes, I'm also looking to learn what my purpose and calling is and how to work with it. Jen, this is honestly a great full moon. I would really work with this full moon tonight and just be very open to the idea that what it is that your calling is, it might ask you to do something that feels really big or to let go of things that feel really major. Just be super, super open. I think this is a great time to receive that guidance from the universe. We are growing with you together. Thank you, Diana. I really do feel that. And I really do feel like when I was in the first year of this channel, I did get caught up with its growth. I did get caught up with almost being like a reader for everybody. And I realized that I'm never going to be the reader or the writer or the creator for everybody. And so I've really been trying to come into my own voice more. I've really been trying to do that in a way where I'm attracting the right people. And I feel like a lot of you who are watching this, maybe there is this big calling to do something different. Maybe there is this thing that you've almost been afraid to step into, that you're now having this sort of, I guess, pressure to act on or to move towards that direction. Add chia seeds to your matcha and your gut with love for that. That's actually really funny. I did put some lion's mane in here, and it is like it's made with hemp milk. I usually use soy milk, and I think that's probably why it's kind of a weird sort of flavor profile. Um, I do like chia seeds. I don't know if I'd like it in matcha, to be honest. But I do like those omega 3s. I am vegan, so I'm always figuring out fun nutrition hacks. So maybe I will try that. I'll let you know. I'll let you know, Starfire. Maybe for the next live chat here. See, Jen, I'm selling my house and moving soon. I already made the decision, but I need to really get moving on it ASAP. I feel like this moon is giving me that push. And as a Cancer sun and Taurus rising, what a tough decision. Absolutely, home is such a big thing for Cancer people, and and to a lesser extent also Taurus people. So making a big move like that, I definitely understand why that's coming up, especially in Cancer season and with this full moon. Taurus rising, so we have Capricorn for you. That's in your ninth house, potentially, which is new horizons, opening yourself up to new concepts or coming back to concepts, perhaps. Um, yeah, I think just in Cancer season, there's always this focus on home and family and roots and our upbringing and, where we really come from and where we can build a foundation for our life. That's right. You did say you had Capricorn in your 10th house. Happy Hermit. That Pluto Saturn conjunction on my descendant at 22 degrees Capricorn flipped my life completely. I can imagine. Also, as a Virgo sun, as I'm remembering self, so many relationships have completely dissolved along with the ego self. As I'm remembering myself, so many relationships have completely dissolved along with the ego self. Yeah, I think that happens too, and this might be happening with like family relationships a lot right now, specifically, where when you're making these shifts, you might notice shifts in relationships happening first. You might be letting go of certain people in your life. That could kind of be a pre-manifestation of things sort of shifting and no longer being in service to this sort of call. Um, and really finding kind of alignment with this greater purpose. That's something that's really important with Capricorn energy in specific. It's all about duty and purpose and legacy. Um, and having that on your descendant, happy hermit, that really is like, there's been so much transformation through relationships. There's been so much letting go of relationships. And very often as humans, when we let go of relationships, especially relationships we're super identified with, it's almost like losing a part of ourself. And it sounds like you've kind of gone through so much transformation. Maybe you've lost so many relationships or connections, or just had so many transformations in the way you connect with other people, that you might have even been in kind of a limbo period where it's like, who am I actually? I thought I knew who I was, but I'm realizing that it was maybe not the full picture of who I actually am. Let's see. Hi from Des Moines, Iowa, Michael. This Cappy is having the same pull. Thrilled for you and love the mustache. Thank you. Need another reading soon. Would love to connect with you again, Claire. I actually am doing a flash sale. That could be a really good time to kind of put that out there again. All of my services are currently 25% off. It's just going to be until tomorrow at 11:59 Eastern time. So if you want to get a reading or Reiki session with me, now is an excellent time to do that. I know a lot of people have definitely been feeling big shifts, and sometimes Reiki can be a really good way to kind of reorient or redirect ourselves towards whatever it is that we are being called to do next. Can you explain the distance Reiki process you do, please? Absolutely, SF. I feel like I actually got an email from you this morning. I wasn't able to reply yet. And if you are the same person, I will give you an email reply shortly after I am finished up with this live stream. So the way that I actually do distance Reiki, I do it kind of in a way I haven't seen other distance Reiki practitioners do. I offer a guided meditation. I'll work with people over Zoom, and I very much kind of set it up like we are doing it, almost like we're doing it in person. I have you lay down or sit down and just get really comfortable. And I feel like the guided meditation is really helpful because we're doing it over a long distance. It can be really hard for the mind to kind of believe in the Reiki, to be really open and receptive to it. So by giving the mind something to do with that guided meditation and to really work with the energy, and even more importantly, actually give you a technique or meditation to come back into the Reiki, I found it really, really effective. And frankly, it's just as effective as an in-person Reiki session for the sessions that I have done in person. Um, so, oh, you are the same person. Awesome. Glad to hear it, SF. Yeah, so I'm glad to answer this question to you kind of live. And if you have questions you want to ask as I'm talking about it, feel free. Um, but yeah, I really find the guided meditation helpful. It's not necessary, really, but I do think it's a great way to just connect with the energy. And for those of you who don't know what Reiki is a form of energy healing. I am a level 2 Reiki practitioner, so I'm able to send Reiki to you across distances. Reiki is a non-physical energy, so it's not bound by things like space and time. So it's very easy to send Reiki to someone and just give that support to someone. Very often people just kind of do this over a photograph and then they'll receive impressions while doing it. But I like to kind of engage with you more as I'm doing the Reiki, and we'll do a little debrief after the session as well. I kind of block a little cushion time after so we can both share our experiences. I can give you what I picked up, and you can also share your experience with me. And then kind of maybe some ways to best integrate the Reiki so we kind of strategize towards the end of it as well. Because I think as amazing as energy healing is, what it really is helping us do is making the changes in our daily life, helping us create better habits. And thank you so much, Juanita. I really do appreciate that. Hi, dear. Hi, Michael. How are you? Happy full moon to you and us all. I'm actually doing really, really good, Juanita. I was kind of talking earlier, I'm not sure when you jumped in, but I've really just been connecting with my need to write and my need to create. And it feels like a very right thing. And the last time I really felt the sense of certainty was when I started this channel. And I have a good feeling about the chapter I'm going into next. I feel really good in my life right now. And it's been kind of challenging and a little scary to be in that sort of process of figuring out what comes next, and more so how to strategize, how to do this, how to execute it. But I'm actually at this point now where it's all really, really exciting. So I'm actually doing really, really great, as I hope you are as well. You're welcome always and forever. Thank you, Juanita. And thank you so much, Jen. I really do appreciate it. Love the avocado. um, Weird icon choice, YouTube. Oh, I thought that's something that you chose, Jen. That's really funny. Um, I don't know, maybe it heard my weird vegan matcha latte and it was like, he's a vegan, he likes avocados. That's what I think it is. Huh, that makes a lot of sense. I've been feeling this vacation as a chance to detox from the extreme stress and workaholism I've been through the last year or so. That does make a lot of sense for me, Liz. I think there's definitely like a need to let go of some busyness as well. And just kind of in a general sense, Capricorn does represent work, it does represent career. So, in the general sense, there may be a lot shifting for people's career or work life and maybe needing to reprioritize things and really connect with our soul and spiritual calling. That all makes a lot of sense for this full moon. Um, I'm feeling like it's time to put work in its place, away from the center of my life and identity. Yep, literally just what we were talking about. I think this is a really good time to reprioritize things and to really come back to the heart of things. I feel like that's kind of what July is all about, being Cancer season. It feels like with Saturn going retrograde in June, there's just been this shift of focus and in kind of finishing up loose ends, tying up loose ends, and getting back to what really, really matters. That's sort of what this whole summer is about, or this whole season, maybe winter for those of you in the Southern Hemisphere. Um, but yeah, I think there's just kind of this shift. And whenever we're talking about the cardinal signs, that's Aries, Cancer, Libra, or Capricorn, traditionally these rule over the kind of main stages in our life, the angular houses. So this is the rising sign, this is the descendant, this is the Imam Coeli, or the bottom or fourth house, and the medium Coeli, the MC, the midheaven of our chart, the top of our chart here. Um, and so there really is a lot of focus kind of on these stages of our lives, and kind of reprioritizing them. If there's been certain stages that have been out of balance, or certain areas of our lives that have been out of balance, now is a really great time to reprioritize things, to shift things around. Writing, that's so cool. Good for you. Thank you. Thank you. Um, Hi from Indonesia. Oh, hi. Hi. Nice to see you. Hi, loved your reading for Aquarius this month. I'm so, so glad. I'm curious to hear your perspective about how the full moon in Capricorn conjunct Neptune in Uranus might manifest. And this is in your seventh house. This is for Amber Light. Yeah, with Neptune conjunct Uranus, you're kind of part of the millennial generation. We have this, I have this in my natal chart. And there's a lot about kind of being sort of a systems buster. This might be like you challenging preconceived notions about relationships. I would actually even say Uranus in the seventh house could even be a placement that could indicate something like non-traditional relationships. This could even be something like polyamory or open relationships, or just relationships that don't have a traditional structure to them. And so this full moon kind of activating these parts of your chart, maybe there is sort of this review of like, what actually works for me in relationships? How have I been trying to put myself into a box to fit in relationships or fit in with other people? And this doesn't necessarily need to just be romantic either. This could very well be talking about business partnerships or just people that we share our lives with. Especially in 2022, not everyone is focused on getting married or having romantic partnerships. A lot of us are seeking out really interconnected friendships, or kind of found family or kind of surrogate partnerships where it's not necessarily about romance, it's just about sharing our lives with people. And maybe those are also themes that are coming up for you as well. And none of that is to say that you can't have a traditional relationship. None of that is to say that you can't have a relationship that um, isn't monogamous or something if that's not what you want. It's just there's this thing where it's like you really need to innovate relationships. You really need to innovate the way you think about relationships and open things up. And this could also involve your public image as well, because the seventh house or descendant does also rule over our public image, how we come across to other people, how other people think of us. It's kind of like an extension of the ascendant. So there may be a lot coming up there. And also just with the descendant, there's a lot about doing shadow work, a lot about working with the other, the imaginary other, like kind of the audience in your head, like, oh, I can't possibly do this because these people will think this of me. And it's like almost these imaginary relationships that we have in our head with real people in our lives. Those could be things that come up with the seventh house as well. Thank you, Michael. I appreciate the feedback. It helps with that voice in my head that feels like I need to do better. Yeah, yeah, and I think Capricorn energy definitely has that kind of quality to it, doesn't it? Where it's kind of pushing us, and really, it is about building things. And there are lessons, there are tests, and sometimes it feels like we never really get there. And it is sort of just building things incrementally too. And life is a process. I think I can definitely relate in my own life. Like, I remember when I was creating my YouTube channel and manifesting it before I even started YouTube, and just thinking about how amazing it would be once I reached 40,000 subscribers. That's when I would be a real YouTuber. And then I hit that mark and I felt no different. And I realized I was waiting for this feeling of arrival in something that isn't really about completion. There's always going to be something more to do. And when we're always kind of trying to get somewhere else instead of focusing with what we have accomplished or achieved, and this is definitely me talking to myself too, we can really deplete our energies very, very quickly. And so, with this do better sort of mindset, or with this mindset of I'm never going to get there, fall in love with the process. Find the thing that you love doing as a process. And for me, writing is just something I can really lose myself in. And as much as I love writing, it is also a very challenging thing, isn't it? Where it feels like sometimes you're just beating your head against the desk until you're just delirious enough to feel like what you wrote was beautiful. So, Capricorn energy can feel very challenging for sure. Hi, Michael and friends. I'm a Capricorn sun, Sag moon, Taurus rising, crazy cat, and crystal lady. You are in good company here, Sarah. Changing careers next year. Holy crap. Wow, congratulations. This is a great time to do that. We've been talking about that. I think this is awesome, Sarah. I'm sending you all the good luck and blessings to you. I'm sure this is a beautiful time to do it. So I think you're very aligned with some beautiful changes. Michelle, a lot is making sense. Thank you. I'm a Capricorn. Don't know my time of birth, but life's changing relationships, and I have to move home. Thank you, Michael. Yeah, I feel like a lot of people, there's going to be stuff coming up with home and family this month. Again, we are in Cancer season. And whenever we don't know our rising sign, our exact birth time, I think it can be very helpful to just look at the sun like it's our rising sign. And so we have this full moon in your sign in the sense of self. So there is some big shifts that are happening for you. There is this big kind of metamorphosis that's happening. And I feel like you're going home to kind of show this transformation to your family, and whether they're on board with it or not, or whatever your relationship with your family is, that doesn't necessarily matter as much. You're just giving them a new opportunity to see things through a different perspective. Juanita, I love your long hair, your connection to high spirit, your upper lip. Thanks. Love and light, gratitude to you and all fellow divine beings. Thank you for that beautiful blessing, Juanita. Hello, Earth Angel Lightworker, Aries Sun, Scorpio Moon, and Taurus Rising and Venus. Hello, hi. A lot of big stuff happening in your sign with the North Node and Uranus being very activated by this full moon, Earth Angel. You might be having some big energies, maybe some big epiphanies and breakthroughs. You might be learning something new about yourself this month. The Crochet Witch, Virgo Sun here with double Scorpio, rising and moon here, and a Leo cusp, lol. Ooh, I love the Virgo Scorpio combination. I think that's really, really fun. I like the intensity. Oh, I feel it. Well, I think I'm gonna wrap up here. It seems like seems like kind of a pause in the questions, so I think this is a good place to stop. I'm noticing um, just kind of the time. It was so lovely connecting with all of you. It was a lot of fun. And if you are watching this in the replay and you're kind of wondering, did I miss something here? When I think of the full moons, I think of like a stone dropping into water. So even though this full moon is happening right now, and you're kind of listening to this maybe a few days after, maybe a couple weeks after even, when we have a full moon, it's like water. I'm sorry, it's like a stone dropping in water, and there's still ripples, there's still after effects of this full moon. So trust that you're finding this in divine timing. Trust that messages that came up in this live chat, maybe there is something in resonance there for you as well. Maybe you're finding yourself reflecting or mirroring someone else that I was talking to today. And I think when we're working with this kind of work or energy, there is a lot of mirroring that goes on. So if you're watching in the replay, I hope this was helpful and nourishing to you as well. Again, I am running a flash sale through the 14th, 11:59 Eastern Time. If you use the code LEGACY, you'll get 25% off any reading or Reiki session with me. And I will see you all in the next video. It was so lovely connecting with you. I'm sending you all my love and blessings your way. Take care.